Hey everyone, this is going to be a long video, so this might be the case where you want to go to the lower right hand corner and speed this up so you can pile through it faster. Um, okay, so let's talk about due date 7, due date 8, and project number 1. So you all, the blessing or the curse, probably blessing, but it could be curse. You due date 7, what you submitted last Saturday is already graded. The TAs both have very on weeks in terms of their graduate career. They're both having to uh, do big tests, big essay type things. So you've got me grading you. But what that allows is it allows me to get it done quickly and to give you some comments as you continue to work on project 1. Now, hopefully you realized all of the work in due date 7, as I scroll through here, was to help you improve your project 1 drafts. In short, the more work you put into, especially due date or homework 3 and homework 4, the more work you put into those, the more you should have gotten out of them. Um, Please don't think that we're carefully reading your drafts. Again, remember this is a class that started with almost 130 students. I'm designing it so it can scale even larger. The whole point of these activities is to help you help yourself. Um, and then also, it's kind of the reminder that as a gen ed class, it has the writing requirement, and part of the purpose of this is helping us help you practice writing and improve your own writing processes. And this is part of it. It's acknowledging things like the time you read through your draft and focus on content and make sure that you 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 have all the required content is different, and you need to set aside different time to go through and focus on citations. And for due date 8, you'll have a different assignment that focuses on copy editing. And this is all normal. I can honestly say for every article slash chapter length text that I've ever published, I end up spending probably 2 hours focused solely on citations. Um, because it's that slow of a process. And so acknowledging that if you didn't take the time that these assignments afforded you, in the sense that the assignment prompted you to do this work, um, then you missed out. That's the point. It's there. Okay, so let's talk about uh, some of the work and some of the revisions. Okay, for whatever reason, due date 2, submitting your draft. Yeah, we clearly had a problem. Probably some of it is my writing. If there's this many errors, then I didn't do it well. So, and that's part of it right here. Let's click on this section where it says put in the project 1 folder. I forgot to specifically say, hey, there's folders with your names on it, or there's ranges, alphabetic ranges. So let's go look at it and let's show what everyone's going to have to do. So project 1, it's currently a hot mess in here. All of you who created your own folders, you need to move those. If you look down here in the middle, I created folders that break up the course into 6 groups based on last name. Everyone needs to move their files into those folders. And the few of you who did it, thank you very much. I appreciate it. The reason you need to do that is it's already unlikely everyone's going to get peer reviews, because I'm not assigning specific things, because I have found over the years that doesn't work for different reasons. But you're more likely to get reviews if you're in smaller groups. So the idea is you need to get your drafts in. So Durham here, Trey, yours belongs in this folder here. Notice I just dragged and dropped it. Ta-da. I'd rather those of you who have the folders that you pull your stuff out of your folder, but at least, so Jeffrey Ritter, RI, it's going to belong in this M to S folder. I dropped it in there. That's what I need y'all to go in and do. And those of you who did not do it right, I did not give you a full point. So if you go fix this later next week, I'll go in and check who moved them and go update the grade book for that assignment. Other things I want to draw your attention to, though, this document here is still in Word. Guess what? That didn't get credit. I need these as Google Docs because you need to be able to make comments on them. But it's really easy. You just right click. If you drag and drop and uploaded a Word document, right click on it, and see where it says open with, open it with a Google Doc. It makes a new file. Chug, 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 chug. Okay, so here's the file. It's now, and this is the URL up here. Some of you who gave me URLs just to the folders, you need to get into the document and grab the web address URL up here. So that's what you want to give me. And then I'd appreciate if you go back in. So notice now there's two files. One is a Word. I'd appreciate once you've converted it, go ahead and delete the Word file, because now we have it in Google Doc form and that's what it needs to be in. Okay, so for all that submission, that's kind of the work that I need y'all to do, but I'm going to take a minute here and show you a tip that might help with working in Google Drive. Now, hopefully you've realized up here in the course, the D2L, I made this link at the top, Share G Drive folder, and that always pulls you out to this area right here. However, the way it's shared with you, up here on the left, notice the little triangle next to My Drive. That's all the folders I have in My Drive. If I click on My Drive, they show up here. What you can do, this means these always show up here, and sometimes that's helpful to quickly find things. If you go to Shared with Me, you all should be able to find a file that says Shared English 300. I don't have it in my Shared with Me because I started it. But what you can do is you can grab the folder like I grabbed this one and drag it over to My Drive, and it'll make it a part of your drive permanently instead of having to try to find it and Shared with Me or to remember to use this link here. So that's just a tip of working with Google Drive. Okay, so we talked about homework 2 and that a bunch of you need to move things around, especially if you want to get full points. Homework 3, let's talk about that. I just want to say homework 3 is the perfect example of those who spent more time carefully doing this, especially those who carefully distinguish. You highlighted all 6 separate points where you made comparisons and all 6 separate points where you did the reasoning for those comparisons. I know that you're more likely to probably do well on project 1 because you were careful and able to articulate those distinctions. Now, those of you who just went and copied a whole big section and said, this is my 6 comparisons, I'm not saying that that's not the case. I'm just saying that the fact that you can't or did not carefully distinguish those, to be blunt, is a little sloppy. And it probably means that your paper's going to be a little sloppy too. Again, not guaranteed, but if you can articulate it carefully, it's more likely that you've done that work more carefully in your project. Similarly with due date 4, again, can't stress enough that you need to take careful time to check your MLA citations. And some of you in your reflections of that activities kind of had the, oh wow, I didn't realize I need to work on this as much as I did. Good, that was the point of this activity. And again, I can't stress enough that for the, for article or chapter length works that I usually spend 2 hours doing this. Hopefully, well, here's the thing. On the one hand, I'd say your papers are shorter, so you shouldn't have to spend that time. But then I've been doing this a lot longer, so I can do it more quickly than you can. So please spend time carefully doing this. And this activity was the assignment to help you with that. Okay, so, and I can't stress enough, if you haven't revised your project based on these activities, do that, because let's jump ahead to due date 8. That is what is due this upcoming Saturday before spring break. Due date 8 starts with peer reviews, and ideally you want your most current draft submitted for your classmates to review. So if you choose to do that, let's get back in here to the English 300 file. There we go. So this is what you're used to seeing. If you do that, please make sure you delete the older version or update in the actual document so they're working with the newest draft. If you leave 2 drafts in here, people won't know which version to revise. Well, if they're being savvy, they can look over here on the right and see the one that's more current. But if you're smart, you delete the old draft or write over it. Okay, so peer reviews. First, note, I can't stress this enough. I do not accept peer reviews late. Again, I can't stress this enough. I don't care the reason. I do not accept peer reviews late. And the reason is your classmates need them to benefit from them. So if you were behind in the class, chances are if you're behind in the class, you're not watching this video anyways. But if you are behind in the class, this is the one assignment that you drop everything, you skip ahead, and you do because it's worth a lot of points. And notice it's 15 raw homework points for each review, and you have to do 2 of them. It's worth a lot of points, and uh, uh, what else am I going to say here? And you learn from it. So now responding to someone who put in the Q&A discussion board area, they said, hey, I'm kind of confused. The same due date for peer reviews is if you scroll to the bottom, project 1 is due. What if I don't get comments from my classmates? Well, the way I've structured this, you are never guaranteed comments from your classmates. However, this I promise you, if you carefully do the peer reviews, it will prompt you to revise your own documents. I can't stress this enough. Peer reviews are both beneficial to the writer and the person who's receiving the feedback. But again, if you get your drafts into the folders, you're probably more likely to get reviews because people are, going in and going like, oh, okay, there's only 2, actually, so notice we have 2 bucklers here. So interesting. So Sherry already opened the draft for Joe. So I'm going to delete Joe's, well, I'm going to hold on. I'm going to make sure. Yes, there's a full draft. There we go. So I'm going to delete the Microsoft Word version. So there's only 2 in here and probably more likely to get comments because guess what? I want you peer reviewing in your folder with your last names. So again, folks, get your folders in the right space. Anything else I want to say about peer review? Peer reviews. I also want to say we will grade these closely, meaning all of this activity being asked of you here, make sure you carefully answer. And I'm just realizing one thing. Make sure you carefully answer and do all of this work. If you do not do it all, you will not gain all 15 points. And again, you can't make this up. So please carefully do that. I'm going to hit pause and check something because if what I accidentally did, you all need to know. Hold on. Hey, you'll be happy to know former Shelley did not have her act together, so don't worry, it's not you all. I get bogged down in the semester too. Okay, so let me quickly show you what I had to add in here. So no matter what, you were still doing 2. Notice this assignment here said 2 of your classmates, but I had only set up 1 input for submission, and so you needed to be able to submit. So you now have due date 8, homework 1A, and due date 8, homework 1B. They're the exact same thing. It's the peer review. It's just the quizzes are your submission for doing it. And folks, it's the same way you submitted the drafts. You're going to have to go in. So we might as well do this. You're going to have to go into the shared, go into your area, and you're going to, so you're going to open it up. You're going to do the work in here and do the review. And then you're going to need the name of the person you reviewed, and you're going to want the link to the draft where you left your comments. So this URL here. And that's how you're going to submit it. And again, so we're here in due date 8. You have to do that twice, 2 people. So you'll do it with 1A, and then 1B is the exact same quiz. It's basically asking, hey, who'd you review? Where's the link? 1B, here we go, and et cetera, et cetera. So again, do those first. Then notice you have an assignment that's asking you to polish, do some copy editing, and the paramedic method is a way to do that. If you adamantly have another copy editing method or strategy that you like to use, that's fine. You can use that. Just at the bottom of your document where you do the reflection, the part 4 here where it says to reflect, explicitly state what method you used and link out to at least one resource that gives instructions on that copy editing method. AKA, don't just be like, I read it closely. No, that doesn't fly. You actually have to have kind of a copy editing method to get the points for this activity. Notice I do have you running an originality report with Turnitin. Um, I just want to remind you that these are dumb. They just look for copied material. So, yes, if there's lots of copied material and it's because you were not doing this assignment appropriately, this will catch you. You are correct. However, what's more likely to happen, ideally, at this point, is it might ding you for direct quotations from either your primary text or direct quotations from the scholarly texts, and or I always love this. If you do your full bibliographic citations correctly, it might catch those as copied because it's comparing it to other full bibliographic citations on other papers. So use the report that you get from this as an excuse to carefully look what it checks as potentially problematic. It's just saying, hey, spend an extra minute here paying attention and making sure you did everything you were supposed to. And then finally, you're submitting project one. And please note that in this case, you're going to be uploading a document. You will not be linking out to a Google Doc. In this case, you're actually uploading a document. Please do that. So it's your final formatting. Make sure it's a polished draft. Make sure there's no comments. So like if you got a peer review and you worked in your document to respond to those review comments, make sure before you finally submit, everything's clear and it's a good, clean, crisp, polished draft. Okay, so that now I want to kind of end on give you the reward for sticking through 16 minutes worth of video. Again, if I were you, I would have sped this up. So I just want to, if you haven't already figured it out, some of you have because you've been emailing me because life has been happening. I've been teaching online for a long time, almost 20 years, and I realized that trying to hold deadlines. People are taking online classes for a reason. Usually they're busy, whether it's working or family care or whatever. Um, and so I've decided that, most of the time I'm happy to allow you to submit work late. I'm happy to allow you to revise and resubmit homework. Basically, I've designed these activities that I'd rather you revise and resubmit than get extra credit for doing some activity that's not related to the course. So you're allowed to submit work late and you're allowed to revise and resubmit homework, except on the things that I say you can't, which is drafts and peer review. So again, you cannot make up drafts and peer reviews. Notice I said drafts. I did not say project one. So someone asked the really good question of, hey, the peer reviews are due the same time project one. How will I respond to them? Well, if you want, you could submit project one a little late. However, I am going to say this. The TAs and I are planning on grading project ones at the end of spring break. So if you're going to take a little extra time with project one, feel free to do so, but make sure it is submitted by the middle of spring break. Because we will be grading it at the end of spring break. And if you do not get your project one submitted in time for when we do our big batch grading, I will still eventually get around to grading it. However, it will be on my time schedule, not, it will not be batch done. I will not guarantee it'll happen quickly. You will get the opportunity to revise and resubmit project one, but I do want to distinguish with homework, you can just revise and resubmit, period. You just have to, when you submit something late or you revise and resubmit homework, please just email me so I know to go look for it and grade it. However, with major projects, you actually, I will provide this link in the announcement, and it's now in the shared folder. You actually have to follow revise and resubmit guidelines for major projects. And it means you have to do work before I will take the time to regrade your project number one. And it will ask for significant revision. You will not get away with just making a few changes. So I think I have thrown a lot of stuff at you. I'm trying to, yeah, no, I think that's everything I wanted to announce, and this is a 20-minute video, as promised. It's nice and long. Thank you for all your hard work. If you are caught up with a class, thank you especially for your hard work. Those of you who've fallen a little bit behind, definitely take spring break to get caught up. And those of you who are very behind, no, you can still get caught up. But you got to work now. You got to work hard because the further you fall behind, the less likely it is you can successfully catch up. I will look forward to seeing everyone's papers.